Hey everyone. So I'm here with Lisa from Farmhouse on Boone, and she is a full-time blogger, YouTuber, Instagrammer, making content about food from scratch, natural living. And she is one of our Influencer Course Accelerator students. I'm so excited to ask her a few questions about her experience in creating online courses and recently more passive income through online courses. Yeah, so I guess the first question is, tell us what you do a little bit more, because I know a lot of people might be like, what the heck is, food? Well, food from scratch is an easy one, but like natural living and things like that. And also how it ties into your course, which is a different niche. But yeah, go ahead and tell us what you do.
So I document what's going on our homestead and our family. We have 6 kids, and so we're here at our house cooking a lot of food. We have dairy goats and a garden and chickens, and it doesn't really tie into what my course is. And I always wondered how it would work whenever I got the idea to do it, but it worked really well. And I think the reason is that usually the type of people that I'm reaching, people who are DIY, who want to do things a little bit differently than the average person, they are attracted to wanting to start their own business. And so I think that's why it's been a natural fit to teach people what it is that we actually do in order to stay home all the time. Because people always ask, what does your husband do? This is what we do. We show, the food we make, projects around the homestead, like building garden beds or milking goats, things like that.
Yeah, I think it's so interesting for you because, you talk on a completely different subject than what your course is on. So she has like what is it again? It's like create your dream life with blogging, right?
Yeah, it's create your blog dream, but essentially.
And you don't put out a lot of content about, how to be a blogger, how to make money with blogging, and kind of like the stuff that I sort of talk about. It's more like how to make a sourdough starter, how to sew and things like that.
Yeah.
And, your income has been so, in my opinion, wildly successful with your blogging course, even though it is unrelated. And I think a lot of people are confused because they think that they have to stick like 100% in the niche that they are talking on with their course. But really you can kind of like, segment a portion of your audience and serve their needs on a deeper level. And that's kind of like where I think, in my opinion, Lisa's found her success with. So yeah, the next question I have is, where were you at before you entered the program and working with Doug and I? I know you had a course already, the blogging course, for like 2 years. And you were kind of just like linking it below your videos. And Lisa, if you guys want to look her up, you should. Farmhouse on Boone. She has like a ton of content. So you were just like constantly linking it, and you had a very successful course. I mean, you talk all about it on your platforms. You're able to retire your husband and pay off your house through your just like your blogging income. But what were you struggling with? Like, because it seems like, and you were very successful, but what did you desire, I guess, even after all of that success?
So I was getting sales to my course, but I feel like most people, like pretty much all I did was I would link people to the landing page. And so just not a very good percentage of people who saw the link ended up purchasing the course. And now it walks them through several steps to get them to that sale. So I have the same number of eyeballs probably on the links because I really haven't been mentioning it a whole lot. But now just a much higher percentage of people who actually encounter it end up through doing a webinar or a master class and sharing more about it. More people end up actually purchasing it. So I feel like I'm doing less work, but then my course is actually selling a lot better.
Yeah. So I know when we first started talking with you, one of your biggest goals was to have more passive income, because as we all know, as influencers, we are like on that grind of creating content video after video, and we love it, right? Like you love, talking about the homestead life. Clearly it's like who you are. And that's what I loved as well, talking about motherhood when I first had a traditional influencer kind of business. But after a while, it starts to get like, am I going to do this when I'm 50 years old? Which you probably will, like honestly, but to the extent like that you are. Yeah. So you craved more of that like passive income versus like active income, right? So, and I think a lot of people do assume that you can just create a course, put the link up, probably like you and I did initially. And you just like make money, but you still have to look at like your conversion rate to see how many people actually buy, which is what we helped Lisa with. And what were some of the things that we helped you implement right off the bat, like with your course?
So I did a second live launch where,
yeah.
so I launched my course in 2018, and then I did a 2-year anniversary live launch, and I really didn't have much hope for it because, I mean, I already launched my course.
Yeah.
People
And
already knew about
you
it.
don't talk about it like a ton.
Not at all.
Yeah.
I don't talk about blogging because whenever I do a video that is like 10 tips from a full-time blogger, it doesn't do well.
No,
Nobody
it's not your
clicks on it.
audience.
It gets
Yeah.
the worst views. But if it just, people see my life and they wonder how it is we're able to live on this farm and we're both here all the time and all our kids are here, they're like, where does the money come from?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
curiosity ends up getting them to want to figure that out.
Yeah.
But that live launch, you guys really helped me with the email series before it, because I have an email list, but I didn't really know how exactly to segment it, how to approach talking to people about the course in my email list. And so my live launch was really successful.
Yeah.
And then just like I said before, like the whole funnel leading them to the sale has been really successful after, even like 2 months after the live launch, still just getting tons of sales overnight, anytime, and not really ever even mentioning my course.
Yeah. I think it's interesting too, because it's like, especially when you are already a full-time influencer, you kind of assume like, well, if I don't talk about my course, you know, you talk about so many other things as an influencer. You're doing brand deals, you're talking about, you know, think like affiliate linking and even some projects that you have on the side. So you feel like, well, if I don't talk about my course constantly, then it's kind of just like a dud. You know, you're not cultivating that audience. And I remember when we first started working with Lisa, I was like, you should definitely push like a second launch, even though you haven't talked about it for maybe like a year or I don't know, 6 months casually.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah. And you had like a wildly successful second launch. And that was like shocking for both of us because you just never know what's going to happen when your audience isn't like super niche specific to your course. So yeah, that is so cool. Now I know that you work with your husband, you know, and you guys do this with 6 kids at home. I mean, I don't know what I'm doing because I only have 2, almost 3, and I'm like a headless chicken. But you know how it is. And I know you always talk about if the more kids you have, I guess the easier it is mentally as like a working mom. Yeah. So I'm hoping that will happen.
And your kids will be older too by then.
Yeah. And they can help.
Or if you have more.
Hopefully. Yeah. But how are you able to, because I know this wasn't even a question I wrote down, but how are you able to, you know, what is, I guess, and people, I know that there's no secret, trust me, but I know people think that Lisa's like some super mom and you guys will watch her stuff and you'll definitely think, how does she do it all? But how are you able to pursue like your passion, you know, make it a full-time thing and also courses on the side? Because I know a lot of bigger influencers, they think, well, I don't have time to, you know, crank out a course and run this evergreen funnel. Like it's what I want. Like I want passive income. But a lot of them put it on the back burner. I know you did for probably like maybe a year, and I did as well, like creating that passive income stream where you have like an email sequence and a webinar and you think that's all necessary, but is this even worth it? Like, how did you come to that conclusion with all the stuff you have going on?
Well, so the thing to remember about a course is you don't have to keep creating it.
Yes.
So I never actually dropped my blog and YouTube to make it. And I know that a lot of people do. If you have to do one or the other, I would recommend stopping for a while and creating a course, because that passive income stream, you just can't beat it. Like for how fast you can go from having a small audience to making an income so much faster with a course or digital product than it is advertisements.
Yeah.
But I never did stop that, but it was just a short season of, this is a lot of extra work and just late nights and things like that. I mean, but then it's there, and I have done some updates. So I spent probably, I don't know, several hours throughout 2020 updating my course from 2018, just changing things that needed to be changed. And then of course, setting up the funnel was like a lot of work.
Yeah.
But, I still would recommend doing that. I mean, I have a team too that helps me with editing. If you're on that treadmill and you don't feel like there's any way to get off, I would either figure out how to get a team, because it will be worth it to launch your digital product, or just cut down for just a short time in order to get that out. One or the other.
And, you know, obviously I always talk about how I quit, you know, influencing because it just wasn't my passion anymore. I like helping you guys, grow your business is just something that I personally prefer. But other people have the passion that they're doing already as an influencer, like homesteading. I mean, you're not going to want to quit that if that is your lifestyle. So you definitely don't have to. But yeah, I think it's interesting because Lisa's able to do it all, but really you pick and choose seasons of your life to focus on more passive income streams, like writing a book, like she's written a book, or, doing brand deals and things like that. Not that that's passive, but that's all it really takes. And I think it's interesting because, I don't know, I would also like you to speak on how much time you put into content creation versus the reality of how much time it actually takes you to create a course, because people assume that it's going to take them 6 months or a year. But personally, creating a course, and even if you like drip feed it or not, it could really just take like a month of your time if that's what you choose to dedicate to. And then you can make money on it for years.
Yeah. So I built my first course in a summer, and that was alongside doing all of my other stuff. So I was still doing 2 blog posts, 2 YouTube videos. At that time, I did not have an editor, actually. I didn't have any help. My second course, I built in 1 week, but I actually would not recommend doing that.
Yeah.
Oh man, you have to be super organized, because I was putting things like, I didn't realize how messy my folders were going to be whenever I was making that much content. Anyways, with my first course, I did it in like 3 months, 1 summer. I just had a goal of like a module a week, or maybe every other week or something like that. But no, it is not much worse than just creating content you're already creating at all. I mean, I spend every week, between what my editor does and then what I do, 40 hours goes into just the 2 videos, honestly.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. So probably creating the course was not much worse than a couple weeks of normal content creation.
Yeah.
The first step is mapping it all out. Once you have all of the curriculum, the modules, the lessons, everything you want mapped out, then you just need to say, I need to accomplish maybe like 1 video a week for however many weeks till I get this done.
Yeah. And yeah, so it's not as hard as people think it is. And it's not as time consuming because you just do a lot of it up front and then you're done. And you can make updates whenever, you have a new launch, whenever you need to.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my next question for you is because before I know you were making passive, it was passive income, no air quotes needed for sure, but it was passive income after you just started linking your course. But now that you have this like evergreen sales funnel, so something that takes a person that probably a lot of people that don't really know you or who just stumbled upon you, finding you on Instagram or Pinterest or your blog or YouTube channel, and they are sent a series of emails for people that don't know. They go and watch your masterclass, which you created with us. And then if they don't buy at the end of that, they're sent another series of emails that are very strategic as far as like taking them from someone that, doesn't know you to a customer or a student. How has that impacted your influencer business? Because I know, like I said, you were just linking it. And now that you have a way to convert more people at a higher rate, how has that helped you, maybe like relieve stress? Because I know for me, when I first set it up and I saw that I was getting more sales than ever before, I thought, this is amazing because I don't have to create a ton of content, which you like to do anyways. But where do you see this going in the future, I guess is my question.
I like that there's the option,
You
don't
want to quit, but
I don't want to quit, but like if I want to take off a couple weeks, it's really totally fine. I'll still make an income.
Yeah.
And then also it's changed my goals. So like I made a podcast today, and instead of having a sponsor on the podcast, I just said that this podcast is sponsored by my masterclass.
Well, that's so amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause I'm like, it's going to pay better than any sponsor is going to pay. Like ultimately, if I mention this and a certain number of people hear it, it's going to pay better. Yeah. And then I also changed my Instagram profile because once I saw how I used to link to my blog, and I get paid like $20 for every 1,000 hits on my blog, which ends up being a lot because I have quite a few views.
If you're huge, yeah.
But like from clickovers from Instagram, no. I don't get 1,000 people over to my Instagram a day ever. Like that's just not how Instagram works. And so I changed my Instagram link to, this is our family's full-time income. Here's how to learn yourself. And so I just know that with the way it's leading them to the sale, it's just more profitable to have that link everywhere.
Yeah, totally. And that definitely for me, like if I was an influencer and I was like years ago and I had no idea how to make passive income or to get off like the rat race that is having to do brand deals like I was in, I don't think you're definitely not in that because you have different income streams, but I was just relying on brand deals. The fact that you changed a bio is for someone, I don't even know how big is your Instagram account? It's over 100,000 or two.
Yeah, it's almost 150.
Okay, yeah. So that is huge. And the fact that you chose to change your bio to, a masterclass link and an evergreen sales funnel just shows the power of how much money you can make with your own products, your own digital products. And this also isn't something that I had written down, but a question that I would like you to answer if I was a struggling influencer trying to get brand deals or trying to make that my full-time thing. And you don't have to speak to like specific numbers, but what is the difference between making money with your own digital products versus doing like a brand deal? Because I always assumed that brand deals paid like so much money until I was, a micro influencer, definitely smaller than Lisa at the time. I put out my own digital products and I was like, whoa, like I was totally wrong about that. What have you been able to do with online courses in relation to like, comparing them to brand deals, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely makes me question doing them. I have several upcoming that I didn't like. I agreed to them because they are brands I already work with, and then I
Yeah.
realized they were lining up like to where I have like one a week for like 5 weeks. I'm like, ooh.
Oh, I know. I've done that I did that for 2 years. Yeah.
I don't normally, so I know my audience is going to freak out on me.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm like, ugh, if
Yeah.
like looking at what they pay now, I mean, it's still like with my mindset of like Luke's job that he used to have, it's like mind blowing that you can talk about something for 60 seconds and
Totally. Yeah.
earn whatever it is. But it's still, the course is infinitely more mind blowing. I mean, just like, it doesn't even hardly seem worth it to even direct people to other places and not just my thing,
Something that I also realized, because I used to think like, well, this is just 30-second ad on YouTube. And I was way smaller than you. So I was paying me like $3,000. Like this is way more money than I could ever make anywhere in Southern California, which is like crazy if you do multiple. Some of them 5,000, like it's crazy, but it's not really 30 seconds. And I think influencers see this, like she only talked about Home Chef for 30 seconds.
Oh yeah.
Actually, I had to put out 3 unsponsored so I don't piss my audience off. I have to, do another take of it sometimes. The same outfit. Lisa knows, because you did.
I do.
I always did. I don't know. I was terrible. And, they have edits and then you have to get on these annoying conference calls or whatever. I don't know if you do those, but like calls with the brands to debrief.
I used to. I just have the same handful of brands I work with now. And so it's pretty straightforward, pretty easy. But like, I've definitely had brands like that I'm like, never mind. Like, this was not worth it. No, but lots of them. And then you'll have ones that you'll sign off on doing like 6 integrations throughout the year. And they want to constantly talk. I'm like, that was not enough money for that at all compared to courses.
How much you can make. And it's funny, and like I always keep saying, Lisa doesn't even have her course isn't even related to her brand, and she makes a ton of money just with course sales. So it doesn't have to be necessarily related, and it's just less work because you just answer to yourself and you just pop your own link in, and it's like,
and you don't even feel bad promoting it. I don't know. There's always a certain level of guilt with promoting products. At least I have that.
Absolutely.
I like hate that I have all these sponsorships coming up. I'm like, oh gosh. I know. And I like the stuff. Like I wouldn't agree to it. I say no to tons of stuff.
Oh yeah.
But
there's always like 2 people, or a little tiny pool of people that just think, I don't know, I think it's jealousy or something. Because I don't understand. Like the sponsors that you have are so in line. You literally use the products every 5 seconds of your day. But there's always going to be one person that's like, we don't like that. She's greedy. It's annoying. But anyways, you don't have to deal with that with your own products.
Right.
Okay. So the other thing I wanted to ask you is like with the coronavirus and the fact that like, in 2020 especially, I don't know about you, but it was like the tail end of me being an influencer, and brands, they definitely weren't paying as much, or they were dropping a lot of influencers, big, or small or medium size. Do you feel more secure with your future, like through online courses, no matter what happens with like the economy or anything that's happening with the world? Now that you have like a better system in place and you don't have to necessarily go out and like look for brands, not that you do that anyways, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, I like just any kind of diversification with an online business. I don't like that, like, I would not like to have all of my income coming from any one place. I mean, I have probably like at least 5 that if any one of them tanked, it would be okay. And then also with courses, you could tailor them to the current environment. So if my blogging course wasn't working because maybe like the employment rate goes up and everybody has something, or nobody wants to start a business, I don't know, that wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
But whatever,
Blog
you
die.
could always go more toward like some other thing that's currently like, I should have started a sourdough course in the beginning of 2020. My sourdough content went crazy. Like my blog almost reached its first 1 million views month. Like it didn't, but almost. All because of sourdough. I'm like, where was I with my sourdough course?
I know. That's
I
so
could have
funny.
made $1 million off just that. I guarantee it.
I was looking up I made bread, and I don't make bread. So
everybody started a sourdough starter. I mean,
can't live without bread.
Nuts. Yeah, my Instagram grew like crazy because people would share, they would tag me in like 40, 50 stories a day on sourdough recipes.
Oh my God. Yours. Yeah. So funny.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next, I only have 3 more left, but the next question is, during your experience working with us, could you speak to like something that you benefited from?
I mean, so many things. I kind of felt like my course was dusty. Like I needed to create a new one. It wasn't really something that. Yeah, it was just kind of like my old course,
Mm-hmm.
And we dusted it off and made it like
a big launch.
a big launch. So I guess showing me the potential of the course and then marketing it and continuing to market it.
I remember with Lisa, at first you're like, I suck at tech, and listen.
Yes.
I'm the first person to say that as well.
To be honest.
Yeah.
So like Doug knows how to do all of that stuff and walks you through it, because I just would have never done it because I don't like, no.
Yeah. So I do remember you were telling me that you already, Lisa, compared to most people in America, you already make a ton of money through all of your income streams. So it was hard. We assumed that it would be harder to light a fire under your butt to like actually make this evergreen, because when people are comfortable in their life, at least for me, it's harder to seek more and more and more, because we talk together sometimes that it's not about the money, it's about the freedom that money brings or passive income stream brings. So we were worried. We're like, Lisa, we hope she finishes this because we hope she sees the value. And I definitely think you see the value now. I think this is your 3rd week of going evergreen, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I know you're making more money now than you were before just putting a random link in. I mean, you've changed your link in a bio, so that's good. And so we're so thankful for that. But it's been great working with you. So what would you say to someone that has a smaller following, or an influencer that thinks that maybe they're not specialized enough in creating a course? Do you wish you would have created a course sooner? Rather than, growing your content and your blog and all that for years before, having these brands approach you? What is your opinion on that?
I definitely think it's the fastest way to earn an income. I have blogger friends who have been blogging for 5+ years, beautiful stuff, amazing brands, high page views, and they just are baffled. And even baffled by like my sister, like people I know who have much smaller brands than them, so much more money, like makes so much more. So I think it's the thing that like a lot of bloggers won't try, and they rely more on just the massive numbers. And so it's the faster way, because you don't have to rely on huge numbers. You only need, a handful of people who are interested in your program, versus with a blog, you need hundreds of thousands, if not 1 million page views a month just to make like a really good income.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I wish I would have started like the week I started my accounts. And people think like, oh, I'm not credible enough and all that kind of stuff. I don't have social proof. But I mean, I just talked to 2 other students yesterday. They hit their first 10K month. They have like 1,000 followers.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It took me years to make $10,000.
Yeah. Like instead of doing all of these sewing tutorials on YouTube, I mean, I should still do that, but like I should have had a sewing course, for sale. All this time I've been getting hundreds of thousands of views on my YouTube videos pertaining to sewing. And, I get whatever, $3 or $4 per 1,000 views.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I could have had a sewing course, and I have a free one for emails, but still like people would have loved to have bought like a little sewing course, and I still could do it.
It would have not, and again, this is not about being greedy or money hungry. It's about feeding your family. And I think people just forget about that. I don't know. But for sure, if you would have done that, you would have definitely made six figures just with a sewing course.
For sure. Definitely.
Yeah. Or if you had half the audience, it'd be less, but not everyone needs necessarily six figures, you know?
Well, the reason we do all of this is for freedom. That's why.
Yes.
And so if you're making 2 blog posts, 2 videos every single week, and that's what you have to do maybe for a while, but without any help, no team, that's not going to work that long. I mean, it'll work for a time, but while you're building it.
Yeah. And you have kids on the side and all the things.
Yeah.
I guess my last question also is, what would you say to someone who's on the fence about working with us? If they're like, oh, I don't know, I've never invested in anything before. You've never invested in a coach either, right? No. So what would you say to someone that's like scared about investing in their business, even if they're smaller, you know, something like
I've never really seen anyone go beyond a certain level without doing that.
I agree. Yeah.
And I mean, I made the money back times a lot.
Yes, totally. Yeah.
And I also just truly believe, I was telling my little sisters, because they both like sort of kicking around the idea of starting something. And I'm like, what you need to do. I told my one sister, I'm like, she is a successful Etsy seller. I'm like, you need to slow down on your Etsy shop on the sewing stuff. Make an Etsy course, which she already has talked about making an Etsy course. Spend maybe like 6 months building up an Etsy audience where you share like SEO tricks and profile or product images, things like that. And then make your funnel.
How to do it.
Like it'll beat your Etsy course in no time.
Oh yeah. And we just had a student yesterday.
Or your Etsy
business. Yeah. We had a student, Chrissy, she used to do like a sticker planner shop. She made, you know, I think she definitely made way less money than her courses so far in such a short time. And then she just hit her first 10K month with like a tiny audience. How to do it. So
it's the way. And I've been to blogging conferences and I've listened to this, like this one lady, she made funnels, but in kind of a different way. And I never really I didn't have anybody to work with to teach me it. So I only just like knew it was a thing, but didn't know like where to go to get the information. And she was this like no-name blogger. I did not know her. I'd never seen her content. I checked her Instagram. She had like 5,000 followers. And she was far head and shoulders above all the other bloggers there, like all of these vanity metric bloggers. And she was like talking about what she made with her little funnels and things like that. And we were all like, what? Like, but you don't have an audience like we do. We all have hundreds of thousands of followers.
What the heck am I doing with my time?
Yeah, she had it all figured out. I didn't do anything with the information for a long time until you contacted me, because I'm like, I didn't know what to do with it, because it's kind of complicated. But when somebody walks you through it, you could see the potential, and it's definitely the way to go.
Yeah. I love that. I think I used to think like vanity metrics is all I need to focus on. And then I was like, no.
I know people who have 100,000+ followers on Instagram who literally have no idea how to make money at all. I know people who have 2,000 who are like making 6 figures.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah. I love that. Because I think they definitely get down on themselves and they just look at competition, and you do that for years and then you drive yourself nuts and it's for nothing. Like, honestly. But yeah, thank you so much, Lisa. And my last question is, where can people find you, just in case someone people are going to look you up anyways after watching this, but if they're interested in natural living, I know your tagline, handmade home. What is it?
Yeah.
Food from scratch.
Natural living, handmade home. Farmhouseonboone.com, and then YouTube's like the place I show up the most. Farmhouse on Boone on YouTube.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.